I just want to give a little plug for car camping. I recently got home from a 4-day weekend sort of getaway and just did car camping. Just did. I drove over 1,100 miles in 4 days. Saw some great sights like this.
So this here is the upper Tequamanon Falls, the big one, and these next two shots are just of the Tequamanon River, possibly technically the lower falls here.
And this.
Some night shots from the Tequamanon Falls Rivermouth State Park, and this is the view from my site.
And these.
Here is Miner's Castle outside of Munising, the old ore dock in Marquette, and the Hurricane River mouth at the Hurricane River and Lake Superior.
And I had some great food. You can bring along some much better grub than you can when you're backpacking, or even canoe camping for that. If you're portaging a lot, you're not bringing a lot of fresh stuff with you. So I had some nice breakfasts like this.
Ham and eggs for breakfast one morning, quite delicious. And cooking up some bacon on the old suitcase stove and heating up some coffee too while I'm at it, boiling water for coffee.
And even my meals, I had some terrible meals like Dinty Moore canned beef stew and things like that. But I definitely wouldn't be taking cans of beef stew backpack with me. So there's a lot to be said for car camping, and I think it's a little undervalued by the backpacking community at large. And it's not to take away from what backpackers do. It's its own thing. But car camping, when I was up north over the weekend, northern Michigan, I got shut out of at least 3 campgrounds that were full of tent campers. So I'm happy to see that the RV crowd hasn't completely taken over. But those tent camp, the rustic campgrounds with the vault toilets and hand pumps and things like that, those are all right in my book. Nice people when you get to talk to some of them. They're a quiet crowd. I did end up in one campground that had some RVs in it, but I was far enough away from them I couldn't hear their little generators and things like that. So, but that's sort of the risk you run being in a campground with RVs and such is you might have a generator to listen to. But so that car camping afforded me the opportunity to not only cover a lot of ground and see a lot of sights. I was able to visit my sister and her family, and we went on a nice day hike and saw some really cool stuff. And I was able to bring, big bulky photography equipment along with me that, admittedly I take canoe camping and have even taken backpacking, but my camera gear is an albatross. So dragging it around is a real drag. But car camping, not so much. Just throw it all in there and off I go. So just once again, there's a lot to be said for car camping. And it's one of those things I had shunned for so long because of the stigma of it's not backpacking or it's not real camping or whatever. And it's just, for me, any excuse to be outside is a good one, and car camping is good enough for me. I'm not trying to impress anybody with my famous exploits of climbing mountains and 100-mile weekends and things like that. I've done all that. So I haven't done 100-mile weekends, but I like to relax too. I was able to sit underneath the tarp and read a book in the rain in a big comfy chair and just stuff like that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was backpacking. You know what I mean. Not a big comfy chair. I'd have been in a chair or I'd have been sitting in my hammock under the tarp, but there's a lot of comfort that goes along with car camping. I just want to give a little love to car camping. I mean, I took along my big old Coleman suitcase stove. You know, I get bacon going and eggs at the same time, or boil coffee, and you know, you can have some real grub. You have a cooler full of cold beverages, fresh meat, eggs, cheese, things like that, so you can have a, you know, a nice sandwich for lunch or anything you want. So the benefits of car camping are unquestionably a little undervalued by the backpacking crowd, perhaps. But you know, I had a great time. I've got nothing bad to say about my car camping experiences. So get out and do a little car camping. Come back and brag about it. I'd like to see a couple more car camping trip reports. You know, it's not all always about, hey, I hiked 100 miles this weekend. So it's just neat to see a little different perspective. So get out there and do some car camping and share your stories.